Hey everybody, Mark here. Today I'm going to show you how I processed a melody in a track that was written and produced by Colormind. Now, as I was mixing this track and I got to the melody, I realized that the melody sounded fantastic, but it just needed something a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to show you today is how I used compression and widening techniques to achieve this. Now, you've heard me say before that when you overcompress things in the mix, it has a tendency to make things feel flat and lifeless. The reason that is because people sometimes compress things just for the sake of compression. They don't do it with a reason in mind. Now, the reason I compressed this sound is because I felt like the melody just needed to be a little bit more interesting. As it was awesome, but it just needed a little bit of motion to it, something to help it feel a little bit more organic. So to do this, I use Native Instruments Supercharger GT. Now, there's a preset on there called Punch, and what it does is it makes the attack time as slow as possible and the release time as fast as possible. This gives me a super aggressive feel on the compressor. Now, you'll notice the moment I put the compressor on, it makes the sound quieter. And that's just the nature of compression. But then you'll notice that I use the output gain to compensate for that volume, or what we call gain matching. Now, something that I also do that you should do with most of your processing is bypass your sounds and then turn it back on to make sure you like what it's doing, and to also give you some perspective on what the sound was like before. Now, all I'm adding to this melody is a little bit of color, character, and motion. The motion is coming from the fast release time on the compressor. The character is coming from the slower attack time, which is not only giving the melody a little bit more punch, but I'm also getting a little bit of harmonic distortion as well, or what some people might achieve with saturation. The next thing that I do to help this melody feel more interesting is I use EQ, but not just any EQ, I use something called mid-side EQ. Now, I'll make another video about how mid-side works, but in essence, we split the stereo signal not to left and right, but to middle and side. So what I'm doing is I'm taking low frequencies out of the middle channel of the melody, which is leaving those low frequencies in the sides. And what that does is it adds an immense amount of width and depth. Now, I did one last thing, and this was to actually increase that sense of width and depth. What I used was Melda's Stereo Expander. Now, this is a free plugin by Melda Productions. All I do is I put it on, I turn up the depth knob, and there you have it. It feels a little bit wider, it has a little bit more depth, and I just felt like it sounded awesome. So I added compression to add subtle motion, character, and aggression, and then I used mid-side EQ and the stereo expander to add width and depth. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Check out my website at markberrymusic.com and check out more awesome music and great content at colormindmusic.com. Keep making great music, do what you love, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.